观众朋友，大家好，我是当娜，华视国际传媒。那我们现在采访到的是盈科 Co-Managing Partner Jesse Weiner. Hi.
Hello
Welcome
there.
you here.
Thank you, Donna. So great to be here.
Yes. Yeah. So we know you're very popular and very loved lawyer, both in America and China, right?
Am I? I don't think I'm that popular, but thank you for saying.
Very popular. Yeah, you said you have been working in China for a few years, right?
I did. 我是在中国住了11年，但是我以后就说英文，因为我的中文真的太差了。我在美国是在10年已经，所以就是我的中文退步的很厉害。
已经很棒了，
没有
能够发音这么标准的来说。
没有。So yeah, I did
中
spend.
国人很惊奇了。
Yeah, it was 11 years in China.
Yes.
Actually, originally as a musician.
Whoa.
Yes.
You're a musician.
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
I was at 中央音乐学院 for a few years.
Wow,
A long time
great.
ago, after getting a master's in music.
Amazing.
But then ultimately, after spending a few years in China, I came back to go to law school here in the U.S. But then I loved China so much.
Wow.
When I was there, I decided after spending a little bit of time in Washington, D.C. as a lawyer, after I finished law school, I ended up going back to China to work about 7 or 8 years as a lawyer in China, doing mostly corporate matters, intellectual property. And then I actually was asked to help 2 individuals with their work in the U.S. I didn't know who they were. There was Zhang Yimou and Zhang Wen.
Wow, so you even work with Zhang Yimou?
I did. These are my first 2 entertainment clients. And so I thought, well, this is such an interesting area of law that I ended up just continuing in the entertainment industry. So basically I became something of an expert, but I became my specialty to be entertainment and media. Continuing with corporate and intellectual property. Right.
Yeah.
But then I moved here. And then in my last few years in China, I was working at Yinke, Yinke 律师事务所, of course.
Okay.
Ultimately, when I came back to the U.S., I helped Yinke open up an affiliate firm, and that's where we are now, YK Law, LLP.
YK Law.
YK as in Yinke, right?
Yes.
YK, and so we are a U.S. firm, and of course, right, we are affiliated with Yinke, and we started YK in 2019.
Wow.
And we now have offices here in New York at Trump Tower, New Jersey, a large office in Los Angeles.
Large office, and a lot of branches.
Yeah, and Irvine, and also San Francisco. And we plan to hopefully soon have also offices in Miami, as well as Texas, and probably Chicago as well. So.
Wow, all over America, and then we can see all over the world.
Right. Well, Yinke, of course, is basically all over the world, and YK is right, the U.S. Affiliate firm, indeed. Anyway, it is, of course, a full-service corporate commercial firm. All aspects, right? Tax, personal injury, corporate matters, SEC, real estate. And of course, I myself, though, as I mentioned, handle mostly entertainment matters. And I am both a California and New York lawyer. So I go between LA and New York here quite a bit.
So how do you feel now?
How do I feel? I feel fat being here with you. What could be better?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I mean, how do you feel like work with Chinese people?
Well, I mean, China
became, company.
Well, first off, how do I feel? I mean, China became like my second home, if not my first home. I feel like I feel very comfortable, of course, working with China. But if you're asking kind of what is the business landscape now? Is that sort of what? Yeah, it is definitely it's tricky and challenging. I think what we've seen. For the last 10 years or so, the basic narrative has been something of we call it decoupling, so a kind of separation. It's been a gradual, if not messy kind of separation, but still of 2 intertwined economies. But now what we see, the reality is, as we finish up here 2025, is what's called a managed bifurcation. Which would be, that paradigm is the 2 economies, the 2 markets. There's not a complete cessation of trade, but what we do see is an erection of high regulatory barriers in certain sectors only. It's like technology, data, critical infrastructure.
So we want to know, like under the current situation,
right?
What do you think about the business relationship between China and the USA?
Exactly what I'm saying. So that we're seeing that. So that these regulatory requirements, again, creating high barriers for these particular areas, again, data, tech, and critical infrastructure, while other areas is there's consumer products and even entertainment. There's still a lot of trade and business going on, but those areas are still highly policed as well. So this actually leads to something of a paradox, shall we say, where on the one hand, we have a real boom in litigation from Chinese companies here in the U.S., even among Chinese companies against Chinese companies here. That's a bit of a new thing that we've seen, where Chinese companies fighting here litigation in the U.S., creating the U.S. federal court system acting as some kind of neutral arbiter between Chinese companies. On the other hand, there's a real demand for this cultural export, i.e., what do we have? We have like this short, the duanju, right? This short form drama, which has really become, again, greatly in demand here in the U.S.
Great demand in the U.S.
Absolutely. We can get
You love it.
I mean, the business I love. I've only watched a few of these minute episodes. They're a bit over the top, of course. I think, as everybody knows, they're as some people call them, soap operas on cocaine. So they're sort of extreme, either 极端, either 过分, the storyline and so forth. But in any event, we can get into the details of that area. But basically, it is again highly in demand here, and that's a cultural export from China here to the U.S. And also even it's actually integrating Chinese business model with even like labor unions in the U.S., whereby SAG-AFTRA, which is Screen Actors Guild, the biggest actors union in this country, maybe the world, now also has a contract that covers that 短剧.
So you cover the contract and laws within the 短剧.
Well, I'm saying there's no union. So basically, the largest union in the U.S. for actors has actually now they have accepted, because SAG would usually just cover actors in feature films and major productions, but they realized this 短剧 thing is such a booming industry that they should get involved and try to protect talent and other directors, artists who are working in that short form drama medium. But that's what I'm saying. It's interesting because you have the litigation on the one hand, this boom, 2024, 25, you see a lot of litigation. We can get into a few cases if we wish, on the one hand, but also still the Chinese cultural export, which is highly in demand here in the U.S. as well. Like, for instance, real short and these kind of like short form content.
Like I mean, we are currently in Trump Tower now.
We are
interview, and your office here. So people like from China always want to know what the relationship between China and the U.S. under the Trump government now, Trump policy.
Well, yes, we're in Trump Tower.
Yes.
And we're here on the 21st floor of Trump Tower.
Yes. Big office here.
It's an office, and of course, it would be no secret, Trump organization had to vet any tenant that comes in, so they looked over our law firm for many months, and we're here. But that still doesn't necessarily mean that I have any particular insight into Donald Trump's thinking, and we have no particular relationship. Okay, I mean, obviously he's not involved in real estate, in basically renting an office to us. So let me put that aside. What I can say though is, if we look at things like, his language. I mean, he seems to be like a businessman who he's very transactional. So as long as like the business will work, the trade will move. That seems to be his major incentive to make things go forward, right? Nevertheless, he clearly has been rather, I don't want to say negative, but he seems to consider China like almost like an adversary.
Like 对手，竞争对手.
It seems so. Like just for instance, I mean, look now. We should talk a little bit about TikTok because that's there's a very big deal that now seems to now finally, just in the last few days, seems to be resolved. So what is that paradigm? It could be a good lesson for other companies and other business people coming to the U.S., especially if they're platforms and technology. I mean, other like consumer products is sort of a different paradigm. But if there's a lot of technology coming into the U.S. these days and different platforms and so forth.
A lot of Chinese company, high technology company,
high technology, right?
Yeah, they're trying to expand or grow their business here. So what do you advise for them?
Precisely. So there's a rule now about I can't really. It's a long name, but in January of 2025, a law was enacted like protecting against foreign adversary like IP or something. I can get you the name, but anyway, but that law came into effect essentially to protect, to be sure. The U.S. government, Trump administration, was concerned that TikTok would have a lot of data, would be collecting data from U.S. citizens, right? And that data was going where? It was being held offshore in China and being used how, right? So now what has happened? Well, what's the resolution? The resolution is there's been essentially a divestiture of ownership. So now what will happen is the Chinese ownership will be 20% or less.
Okay.
So
you, as a lawyer, you deal with all these like contract details about this business, the lawsuits.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we are not representing TikTok. I will say, but I do represent.
You do represent TikTok.
No. We do not represent TikTok. Although we can get into it also. I do represent actually, Real Short and COL, the Chinese online, the parent company of Real Short. So we do help them.
You do present a lot of Chinese company in like media industry and film, like short film industry, right?
Well, yeah, as I said, we do represent COL. So that's the parent company of Crazy Maple Studio, which runs Real Short. So there is that. But no, we don't represent TikTok. But the lesson is the same still. Of course we're glad and we can help Chinese companies with their regulatory compliance and helping them to enter the U.S. market and all the different issues. Because there are a lot of issues, for sure. I mean, things like when a Chinese company now, I mean, it's probably been the goal of a lot of Chinese companies over the past decades to enter the U.S. market, I mean, for better or for worse. Now, the goal is probably similar. So when a Chinese company is going to enter the U.S. market, they definitely need to, even from the outset, they need to consider a few different things. Their corporate structure, their data architecture, and their capital table. Because the assumption is, and they should know, that there's going to be rather strict scrutiny and investigation from various quarters in the U.S., including CFIUS, that's the Committee on Foreign Investment into the U.S., the Department of Justice, DOJ, and even competition from Chinese rivals in the U.S.
Yes, Chinese rivals, 对手，竞争对手啊。
Exactly. Right.
他们都很需要了解美国法律的人，像您这样的专家来给他们提供一些帮助。
Well, sure. That's what we do. We help. I mean, obviously, we help domestic companies as well because we are a U.S. law firm. Yes. But with the obviously with the deep connections we have with Yinke and the rest of the world, the rest of the offices throughout the world, and having a lot of Chinese lawyers who work with us here in our YK offices, who are of course also U.S. registered as well, but they're also usually Chinese lawyers. So that's why we tend to have particular expertise in helping Chinese companies in all areas to come into the U.S. market or to go on NASDAQ or other markets. We do that, of course, as well. So that's what we do.
great. So, like for many Chinese company or business, even some people who want to come to the United States to expand their business or get more opportunity here.
Right.
So you suggest like entertainment is the main area you focus on, right? But you also do many other areas or industries to help them about the law, right?
Absolutely. As I said, this firm, we're a full service firm, so we help Chinese companies, individuals, with all aspects of business. Even, by the way, I just should say, even though our main area is more corporate commercial matters, individuals who get in trouble here, and even kind of like criminal or personal injury matters, we help that too. But mainly it's corporations and industries that have business here in the US. We help them, again, with all of their compliance matters, because again, the regulatory environment, as I said, CFIUS, DOJ, even in the Duishou, where we said, as far as the Chinese, other companies, they have a competition with other Chinese competitors. Even if, for instance, cases like Shine and Temu, that's a very big case here. And some other Chinese companies have been fighting here in the US. So yeah, we definitely, but I myself, as I said, sure, handle mostly entertainment matters. So I also actually am a producer, by the way, as well, in my capacity. So I'm actually working on a project you probably would know, of course, Empress Wu Zetian.
Whoa!
So she's, of course, well known in China, but actually, as you may or may not know, very few Westerners, like 老外真的不知道她是谁啊。
You mean 武则天这个人物哈？
Yeah. So we have a script, and we're trying to get that set up here for production that'll be made for probably in Chinese, but made for U.S. audiences.
Oh.
So that's we're trying to find financing. So I do that kind of thing as well.
You also do the finance advisor for them.
Absolutely.
For the next production, for their filmmaking.
Right. Again, that's my particular area of expertise as a lawyer, not the firm-wide, but that's also what we do as well, for sure.
So yeah, we know you have a lot of business relationship with Chinese company, like most on entertainment industry, right?
Right.
But you also do many other business in different areas, right?
Right.
Okay. So would you like to talk a little bit more about your practice?
Well, as I say, we help companies whether they want to onto a stock market like NASDAQ. We handle a few cases
you also
like that.
do like IPO?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We have lawyers, of course, who handle that. That's not my personal specialty, but of course we have lawyers here in New York who handle that. Real estate transactions, we do have Chinese companies who have come here and bought up certain real estate. Immigration, we do a lot of EB-5, but now, of course, you probably know that we've just seen the Trump gold card. So that now maybe will take over more than the EB-5 matters, but that's yet to be seen. We're told, I think I heard the other day that Trump said he's already had over $1 billion worth of money coming in through the Trump gold card. We of course will assist companies for that, and other I know we have various technology companies, so we've helped them. Again, we were talking a little while ago about the challenging landscape here for tech companies and other companies that handle data and such to get a foothold here in the U.S. But we help them with that. But of course, and even you should keep in mind too, please, once business people should know, even once they are here in the U.S., then there's once you've gotten that foothold, you still have to then consider operational, then ongoing operational challenges, and those are you talk about intellectual property matters, making sure you're protecting your intellectual property, and also defending against others who might say the client is infringing on other people's intellectual property. Again, making sure that their business is running smoothly, and that they're staying in compliance with all of the U.S. rules and regulations, and that is what we do, and we're glad to do it. And especially, we'll help anybody, but we're even much more glad, and we have much more expertise in helping Chinese companies and individuals with all of their business here in the U.S., and that's what we love to do.
Yes, and like law export in the United States, I think like most Chinese company would love to get your help.
I hope, I love to hear, I hope they would. I love that. I love the sound of that. So yes, indeed.